I'm Jennifer Boulos, BPS Digital Learning Coach, here with an on-demand training tutorial on how to use the assessment feature in Seesaw. So we're going to be specifically looking at how we can create images as responses and how this tool works in general, and how it can be integrated into your classroom, especially with your kindergarten, first or second grade students. So you can see here, I've created a new activity. It's called I Know My Seasons. I have created some written instructions as well as audio instructions, which I think is super helpful for our non-readers and our littlest learners. So you'll see here, I have created an assessment. It's a formative assessment. A formative assessment, which is low stakes. Students will receive instant feedback once they answer the questions. So you can see here, I have put a question on each page. Seesaw did this for me automatically. As a teacher, if you have older students, please keep in mind this can be applicable all the way up through middle school. So the questions can be more challenging. You can make this more of a summative assessment where students would not receive the feedback instantly. They'd have to wait for you to give their post-approval to see how they perform on the assessment. But for this example, I just wanted to show you something that, like I said, would be low stakes for students, but it's highly interactive. It's engaging, but it's also interactive learning. So it's not just, I'm going to send you off into the corner, into independent center, and I'm not really going to know what you're doing as the teacher when the assessment is over or when that activity time is over, when my students are working independently. When they're doing something independent like this, you're going to know what they're doing and did they really do that activity that you assigned them. So I'm a huge advocate for digital learning, not just to develop our students' technology skills, but to really make sure that there's no time being wasted in the classroom. Every minute, every moment, it has instructional value, and something like this is going to make sure that that happens. I do want to point out, as a teacher, I'm going to go back to the activity and I'm going to stop viewing this as a student so you can see what it looks like from the teacher perspective. Real quick before I do that, I do want to point out that students can click on view instructions if they need a refresher on exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Obviously, when we have K1 and 2, we want to keep the instructions as quick and easy and simple to understand as possible. So we're going to go back into the activity. I'm going to edit this activity. I'm going to show you what it looks like when we edit it. I'm going to go into the template. You can see I gave it a name. You can make a copy of this, put it in your library. You can change it. That's fine with me. Or you can use it as is, and I hope you do. But I do want to point out that you can click on all of these boxes and you can resize them. So you can make them as large or as small as you want. You can add additional elements on the page if you wanted to add some visual supports. All I did was I changed the background color. If we go into those three dots and go into the background, you'll see here there's lots of background choices. So I selected a background that sort of corresponded with the season to give them a little hint, if you will, because I really don't want to give them the answer. I feel as though if we were to put a picture on the screen, it would give the student the answer right away, and we're assessing their knowledge of the actual seasons. Now, that being said, we are going to make sure that our kindergarten first graders who may not be able to read yet will have visual responses. And I'm going to show you how I made that in just a moment. I do want to show you the functionality of this tool that's built right in. Seesaw has developed some really impressive technology here for us. So if we answer this incorrectly, I want to show you what it looks like. The student would drag it, hit check work, and they get that little try again. If they wanted to just go ahead and add another selection and hit check work, it tells them there's too many, so they do have to drag out a response and hit check work again. It does count that as 3 tries. So you may want to show the students that you have to take the wrong answer out, put the right answer in, and then hit check work if they don't want one of those tries to be counted against them. So I think this is just a great, as I said, functionality that's now built right in. Everything can be customized. The fonts, again, if you want to get fancy, You can click on those three dots. You can change the style of all the words, the colors, everything. But at the end of the day, we really don't want things to distract our students from what we are assessing. What is the learning objective? What are those goals? If we want our students to just show us they understand the seasons, and the characteristics of each season, we don't have to go overboard with filling every page with all kinds of elements that would be distracting from assessing their knowledge. So that's just something I've been noticing over the years, especially with elementary students, that if we make our digital activities simple, clean, and really laser focused on those skills and knowledge that we're asking them to show us they have mastered, I really think keeping things as simple as possible is beneficial for our students, our younger students. So this is the first part. I'm going to show you in the next part of this tutorial how I made this and how simple and easy it was to make. But I just thought it was important for the first part of this tutorial that you can see a finished product, what it would look like for our kiddos. So in the next part, like I said, we're going to look at how did I make this exactly, and I did use some AI with this. So I hope you keep watching. So in this part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you exactly how I just made that assessment. It was really quick and easy, and I hope it's something that you will adopt this year. So I'm going to start by being in my Seesaw library, and I'm going to select Create Activity or Assessment. And I'm going to just use the same example. I know my seasons, and here in terms of response template, we want to select Assessment. We're going to leave this as a multiple choice question type, and we want to make sure that the response type is drag and drop. And we can also keep it in practice mode if we want our students to be able to check for understanding immediately after they answer. They can check their work as they go. If you want to make this more of a summative, you can change it to assessment mode. That is your preference. And now here's where the beauty of that AI functionality comes in. Find questions. We're going to keep multiple choice, and we're going to search for questions about the 4 seasons. Now we'll see, is this going to search for questions about Frankie Valley in the 4 seasons or the 4 seasons? There's a little, I don't know what type of humor that was, but hopefully you're chuckling. So here we are. The 4 seasons brings us a cycle of change and beauty throughout the year. And here are the questions. If we like them, we can add them. If we need to change them, we just simply click on edit. And here's where you can change the question or the response types. If we like it, we're going to select add. And you'll see that all of those text labels, which are draggable, have been added. And now we, as the teacher in the classroom, can drag these, drop them wherever we'd like on our slides, and we can add additional elements if we'd like. I mentioned this earlier. I don't think that's necessary. We really need to have our kids focusing on the learning objectives. So anytime you're adding something, just ask yourself why, is I guess my point. We're going to click on those 3 dots. The only thing that I added, as I mentioned in the first part of the tutorial, was the background color. I just simply changed that. And I'm just going to point out real quick, there is a really fantastic feature. I'm going to do this again later on in the video. I'm going to remind you of it, but it's called focus mode. And this is going to let us hide all the tools or whichever tools we want. If we're doing an assessment and our students aren't doing anything creative, they're just simply dragging and dropping and showing us what they know, we can eliminate all those, hide all the tools, and then we can hit save and preview as a student, and all the tools are gone. So for some of your students who may get distracted easily, maybe 1 or 2 here and there, that's applicable. But yeah, if the students are getting distracted, start taking advantage of that excellent feature, the focus feature. So if I want to continue to add questions, I can. I'm going to go back to that question type. I'm going to go find questions. I'm searching for the Four Seasons. And I took a pause to show you several things, but if you like all these questions, you go through them and they're great, you can just simply say, add to new page, add to new page, and you will be done very quickly. If you want to, you do have to, unfortunately, you have to drag some things and do some formatting, if you will, but you can make these completely unique to your teaching style. And hopefully you are going to start to add some of this great technology into your classroom that is really meaningful. It's not just technology for technology's sake. So in the final part of the tutorial on this particular feature, I'm going to show you how you can change response types from these text labels to actual images. And that's ideal for your students who are younger, but it's also great for middle school students who maybe you want them to think at higher levels and do some analysis of photographs, or there's so many different creative use cases. So let's finish up with the very last portion of this tutorial. So you can see I'm in my library. I have the My Seasons activity, which I just demonstrated. And now I'm going to create a second activity where their students are just going to be able to select from images for answers. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one up. All I've done is given it a title. So I'm going to click on the three dots and select Edit. And I can add instructions. Here's where I can add voice instructions for my students. In this activity, we are going to show what we know about the seasons. Super simple. If we don't like it, we can delete it, but that was 5 seconds of instruction. And again, I think it makes activities a lot more doable. They're not intimidating. They're not filled with words and that our students can't read. So please use those audio features as often as possible. And so now what we're going to do in terms of a response template is we're going to select assessment. It's going to open. We want to keep this multiple choice with drag and drop as the response type. And we're going to keep this practice mode so our kiddos can get the instant feedback. And I would love to just use the AI assistant to get all my questions generated with the answers and they're correct. But because I'm going to use images, I have discovered I cannot. I apologize in advance if there is a trick or a tip that I haven't found out about yet, but this is brand new. So this is how I have discovered this would be used or created. So what I would start off by asking is, I'm going to just say, which season is the hottest? So now where it says add response, I'm going to select upload. Before I do that, I'm just going to hop over into my Canva tab to show you this is where I got my images for my responses. And they have a similar look and feel, which I think is important. Some of them aren't photos and then some are clip art. So my recommendation is to keep a consistent visual aesthetic look and feel for the students. All I did was take screenshots and they're saved on my Mac. So now when I head back over into that activity, I'm going to select upload. I'm going to go into full photos on my Mac and I'm going to hit shift on my keyboard and select all 4 of these at once. If you're in middle school, you could have 3 different images that represent the branches of government. Ask questions about that. There's a lot of use cases, so I hope you're excited about this feature and functionality. So I'm going to hit open. Now you'll notice I have to quickly rename these. So this is going to be my spring photo, my summer. I could name these and save them to my Mac, but this took no time at all to do, as you can see. We're going to keep editing. So there is the question. So I'm going to select add and whoops. Oh, I have to select a response. So the question was, which season is the hottest? Select the right answer, select add. You can see it puts it on a page on the far right, and then I can drag these images and arrange them in any order that I want as the teacher. And I'm going to then be ready to add my next question on another page. Before I do that, I want to point out something that I found that I thought was pretty neat and very helpful and beneficial for younger students. If I click on these three dots on this actual slide, you'll notice something new called focus mode. This is new to me. I don't recall seeing this last year. When I click on this, it says I can create a more focused experience by hiding student tools on this page. Now, earlier I had talked about how less is more, keep it simple, um, eliminate distractions for our students. We have to really be cognizant of that because it is a reality. Students are very distracted, especially when they're little. So, how do we do that? We can select how do we keep them from being so distracted? We can select hide all tools because they don't need any of these tools. And then when we hit save and preview as a student, everything has been eliminated or hidden temporarily while they do this assessment. And which season is the hottest? They drag, check work. Great. Remember to remind your students that they need to take it out before they put it back, put another response in. Otherwise, it is going to count it as wrong. Okay, so we can exit the student preview. I thought that was a great feature to just eliminate all those tools, especially for kindergarten. So now what we can do is hit add page. We're going to go to the check mark, questions. It's drag and drop. When do we celebrate? The next question is when do we celebrate Halloween and Thanksgiving? And if you've been out into any retail shops, you see all this, all those decorations already, and we're still in August. But again, we're going to upload. We can do this quickly. I'm hopeful, like I said, that Seesaw will add an image bank for us. And then we will go through, change these again. Obviously, if they're named properly on our computers, we won't have to do this step again. But I just wanted to do this quickly for demonstration purposes. And the answer would be fall. And then I'm going to select add. And now it's on a second page. It's really important that we add the questions one at a time, one question per page, because otherwise it's going to put everything on top of just the one slide. And I know that from experience as I have been preparing this tutorial. So again, keeping in mind, we can stretch this out. You can feel free to add additional aspects if you want to make this look more aesthetically pleasing, maybe a color in the background that corresponds to the season. You can also actually change the color of the box, the drop here box. My recommendation is to make it stand out, make it pop, use those contrasting colors. So yeah, your students would drag it in, check their work, and then you would continue to build from there. It's not super time consuming. It's a little bit more time consuming than if you were to just not use these images and take advantage of that AI assistant. But I think what you could create as an individual teacher or collectively with your grade level team, or taking advantage of what Seesaw creators may add to the Seesaw library, I think the possibilities are endless for all curriculum areas, for all grade levels. And I hope you're excited about this new functionality and this great feature of Seesaw to constantly be checking for understanding, because that's what it's all about. That's how we see the growth and development in our students, is by constantly checking where they're at and allowing them to do it as well. So I hope this has been helpful and you will give this a try. If you would rather wait to work with me one-on-one or again with your grade level team, I am so excited to be collaborating with all of you this year. So feel free to shoot me an email, and I'm looking forward to working together and making sure that our students progress and achieve at high levels. So again, this has been Jennifer Boulos on behalf of the BPS EdTech team. Thank you for watching this on-demand training tutorial, and I'll see you soon.